Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 40 winter Dollar Tree DIYs for you from the Crafty Vault. Christmas is over, but we can still decorate with winter with these fun ideas. I hope you enjoy today's video.
So to get started, we're going to use one of these little wreath forms from the Dollar Tree. I think it's the bicycle wheel wreath form. It's going to be perfect for what we want to do. And you're going to need 6 of these little white Christmas trees from the Dollar Tree. This is why I told you guys to stock up the other day. I was able to just find these at my Dollar Tree, but you might have to visit more than one store to get 6. It is important that they're white because what we're going to do with these is we're going to make a giant snowflake. So you're just going to need the tree part out of all of these. I'm going to go ahead and save all those stands because those are great stands. I'm sure I can use those for another DIY in the future. So we're going to make a 6-pointed snowflake. This is going to be pretty universal winter, this DIY. I do bring in a little coastal colors later on, but this would pretty much fit any decor. So we have all 6 of our little Christmas trees and our wreath form. Now, I'm just going to kind of put them together like this. And so I'll have to put a sign in the middle where there is no greenery. I didn't really want to overlap all the different poles into each other. I thought it would make it too bulky. So I kind of wanted everything to lay flat. I'm making a giant wall hanging for my front door. This would also be great on the front of your house or even your door. It actually turns out to be really large. So just using 3 zip ties, I zip tie that to one of the rungs of that wreath like that, sticking out in that direction. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom. Now, I'm doing these kind of out of order because I want to do 6. So I should have skipped 1 and I skipped 2. So I'll realize that here in a minute. But I'm just zip tying 3 zip ties, just using clear zip ties so they'll kind of blend in. Now, if you're worried about like the color of the reform being visible, it isn't really, it's pretty much covered up, but you could always paint that white. So I got 3 on there, and I went to do the 4th one and I realized my mistake. I should have only skipped 1 instead of skipping 2. So I just took 1 off and I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Now I was just kind of seeing if that's going to cover the frame, and it did. So I should have skipped 1 like this. So I went ahead and took that one off, and I'm moving it right here. And again, I zip tie like right at the base of the tree, all the way at the bottom, and then 1 like through the tree, which you kind of have to fish that through, zip tie, and tie that off on the back. And skipping 1, I do another one. That way there's 12 rungs on this thing. So we have 6, so we skip every other one. And we're going to have a giant, like a wreath snowflake. It turns out so cute. I really like this, and I was really impressed by the size. It looks great in my entryway. I actually took down the sign I had up for Christmas so I could actually go ahead and hang it to show y'all. So just finishing up the last few Christmas trees here. Once I get them all attached with zip ties, I do want to reinforce it just a little bit. So I'm going to flip it over here, and I was trying to think of something that could go right here in the middle. I decided a wood bead would fit perfectly, so I glue a wood bead down there so I have something to glue to, and I kind of glue the different trees to the wood bead just to provide a little bit more stability, doing some extra hot glue on top. Now all I have to do is open up all of these branches. I want it to be, flat on the back so it can hang on the wall, but I do kind of fluff it up. I do flatten it a little bit more than that to kind of give it more of that snowflake appearance. But I was just kind of trying to see if I could, open them up enough where you won't be able to see the frame, or if I need to go and paint that wreath form underneath. And it did cover it all up. You can't see the wreath form at all once I get it all open. And I will cover up all that center stuff that's going on with a Dollar Tree sign. So just fluffing all of these, like the very end is kind of long, so I had already pulled those out. but just pulling out all of the branches. And you can't beat a $1.25 Christmas tree. So it's filling in nicely. I kind of like overlap the different branches a little bit to make sure that it covers up that wreath form underneath. And this is what our giant snowflake looks like so far. Super cute. I thought about using this sign from the Dollar Tree. Aren't those cute? I just found that the other day. But I decided to do this one. I'm going to have this hanging in my entryway, so a hello sign would be perfect. And I picked this sign up at the Dollar Tree. I don't want that color, so we're going to go ahead and use some heat and a spatula from the Dollar Tree to remove that bow. And then I wanted to paint hello blue. I thought I would try this color. It's a Dollar Tree paint, and it's a pretty color of blue, but it was a little light. But let me show you how I'm doing it. I'm just doing it with a makeup sponge. I was trying to carefully, just paint that little top part, but I found like the hello word was so skinny, the depth of it, that I was still getting paint on my sign. So I was just using a baby wipe to try to remove some of that. And I did a couple coats, and I thought it was pretty. It's kind of an icy blue color, but I did want it to be a little bit more blue to go with some more of my decor. So I do add a little, this is lake blue to it, just to kind of bring out a little bit more blue. I just wanted it to be a little bit more contrast. And that looked pretty good. And I discovered if you don't push down on the sponge at all if you're going to paint with a sponge like that. Now for the ribbon, we're going to replace it with some of this blue snowflake ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And it had a simple bow on there before, and so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to tie a simple bow, try to make sure that the snowflakes are visible there. And I'm just going to cut the ends of the ribbon to size once I get it arranged. And then I'm just going to attach that where the old ribbon was. So just a dot of hot glue. And then I wanted to decorate the sign a little bit more. And so I went and got some of those white glitter stickers, snowflake stickers from the Dollar Tree. I think these are so pretty. You guys have seen me use them in other DIYs, Christmas DIYs, but you could also use those wood ones that they have at the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to use a couple different sizes on this. The bottom I have a little bit more space, so I'm going to use the largest one down here, and I'm just going to kind of stick that to the sign. It's covered in white glitter, so I don't have to paint it or anything. It's just going to be, a really easy way to bring winter touch to this little sign. On the sides, I have a little bit less room, so I'm going to use some of the smaller sides ones over here. And now we just need to make a hanger for our snowflake wreath. So I'm just going to use a little bit of twine and pick any side to be your top and just tie a simple knot. And we have a simple little hanger that will not be visible when we hang it. And here is our giant snowflake. And this covers it pretty much perfectly. So I'm just going to do hot glue all along the edges. And while that's still wet, I'm going to push that down onto the Christmas trees, pushing down so I get lots of connection there for the hot glue to get that to stay on. Now I'm just going to arrange my branches a little bit to make sure that I don't see any of that wreath form. And that's pretty much all there is to this giant snowflake DIY. This turned out so cute. Everybody in the family loves how it turned out. And this is definitely one of my most popular winter DIYs I've done so far here on my channel. I love it. It's huge. It took up like my entire entryway. I'm going to hang it again there this year. It pretty much takes up the entire wall above my console table when you first come in. But it was really fun to make and a fun idea to do a giant snowflake for winter. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We are so close to 50,000 subscribers. And don't forget to hype in today's video. I got this great wood sign at the Dollar Tree Plus for $3, and I thought we could make a really fun Hello Winter sign using some letters from the Dollar Tree.
I'm going to use the little galvanized metal letters for hello. Just because they're smaller, I wanted a little variety. And then I'm going to use their larger wood letters for winter. So to do the hello, I don't really want it to be galvanized metal. That's not really going to go with the vibe today. So I'm just going to take a couple pieces of painter's tape and just kind of sit those on there so that we can paint and stain those. Now, as you can see, I did not have another E for winter, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that. I'm going to put a couple letters together. I did want the hello to be white first, so I have some white spray paint, so I'm going to go outside and give that a quick spray, because sometimes the galvanized metal letters can be a little hard to paint, so I thought if I spray painted it first, that would help, and it actually really did. Now, these are our wood letters spelling out winter. I love these. You get a whole alphabet in the package at Dollar Tree, but I always run out of vowels. And so I'm going to take this F, trim it up, and then take a Z, which I'm not going to use very often, cut the little piece off of that. Then we can put them together like that, and we're going to have an E. And you know what? You can't even tell. So that's one way. I wish they would kind of sell vowels, though, because I have so many of these, and I did not have one E. Then I'm going to stain it that medium wood color, by using just a little bit of Antique Wax by Waverly and kind of wipe that to the side with a baby wipe to kind of give me that medium wood stain. I want it to look very rustic up against the white sign. And I like those signs from Dollar Tree Plus because they're a nice pallet sign. They're already painted white. They have a hanger, so it's kind of a time saver, even though they're a little bit more expensive. And I went ahead and did that with all of my letters there, spelling out the word winter. I also want the word hello to look like wood too, so we're going to try that as well. And again, this was $3, the little sign from the Dollar Tree, and it's already white, so it's perfect. We can just go ahead and start attaching our letters. I'm going to go ahead and do the wood ones first. They're fairly large. I think it's going to take up pretty much the entire center row to spell out winter. And I just kind of start on one side. When I laid them out earlier, it looked like it was going to pretty much take the whole space. So I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on the back and then just try to space them out the best that I can, trying to keep them like kind of equal distance apart from each other. And I thought about, I was going to like break out my Cricut or something like that to do the word hello. And then I remembered that I had the smaller galvanized letter. So I just wanted a little variety between the two different letters. And this is how I make my F and E. It was actually pretty easy. And I'm just going to kind of make that look like, the grain of the wood. See, you can't even tell. And R. So I want to do hello on the top, winter in the middle, and then we could do snowflakes everywhere else. Now this is the one that I painted white. So now I can go in with that Antique Wax by Waverly and just drag that across the white. It's going to give me a faux wood grain. I don't want to work with it too much because I don't want to scrape any of the paint off the metal letters, but it actually worked pretty well. It's not exactly the same as, it's staining the wood ones, but it's close enough. So I'm going to carefully just start peeling those off my painter's tape, and then we can go ahead and glue those on. They are kind of tiny, so just a little tiny bit of hot glue on the back of these, trying not to use too much that you're going to be able to see it when I put it on there, and I don't really want it all oozing out like that. And I just kind of lined it up to the left like I did winter, but of course these are a lot smaller, so it's only going to fill up part of the board. And I'm going to do that all the way across, trying to clean up any excess hot glue as I go. And we do finally have our Christmas tree up. As many of you guys know, my husband got sick on Thanksgiving, and he gave it to me and my son, and I was so sick. I am finally feeling human. My son is home from college. I was so excited. He helped me get in the attic. We got the Christmas tree up. We have it lit. So we're halfway there, and I'm so excited. And I've got my Christmas decorations all out and up, and it really feels like Christmas. So fun. Now for the snowflakes.
The only thing I could really find small enough to fit were these little wooden snowflakes from the Dollar Tree. And I thought we could kind of scatter those around on the sign, kind of like filling it up, kind of make it look like it is snowing. Kind of thought maybe up, down, like especially there on the bottom. And I thought about staining them too to kind of make them have like that wood stain like Hello has in winter. But since they're snowflakes, I really wanted them to be like white and snowy. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of give them the same finish that we did on a snowflake earlier. So I'm just using a little makeup sponge from Dollar Tree and some white acrylic paint. These things are so easy to paint. I really wish that they were different snowflakes, but that's okay. We're going to make them work. They're just the right size. And then once I got them all dry, I'm going to go in with some of that iridescent glitter like we did before so we can make these little snowflakes sparkle. And it was just a matter of not getting too much in like the little holes here in the middle. The Cricut Weeder came in handy for that, but I'm going to go ahead and do that on all of them, make them as sparkly as I can for winter. And this is the only kind of snow, that we allow down here in Florida is my faux snow. I got my snowflakes. We're going to add some faux snow to the sign. We don't do the real stuff here where I live. And I'm very thankful for that. We are traveling to the Midwest for Christmas though, but unfortunately the weather is going to be too warm. So no chance of seeing snow. My son really thought that we would have a white Christmas. And I'm like, in Missouri, white Christmases are not that common. I am growing up there. I mean, I think we used to get maybe a little bit more than they get anymore, but it just doesn't seem to happen too often. And so I just kind of hot glue those, kind of stagger those on the bottom of the sign. And then for the top, my camera died, but all you missed was I just put a little bit of the school glue up here in the corner. And then I took some Epsom salt and sprinkled that on top. Then I sprayed it with some more of the glue and a little bit more Epsom salt. And as you can see, it's kind of like dripping down on the corner, like just a glob of snow is stuck to the sign, kind of like you would have in winter. So I'm going to give that a quick dry with my heat gun to make sure everything's going to stay in place. And I'm going to kind of touch it up. This one area here, I thought it needed just a little bit more. And again, the school glue works great for the Epsom salt. Even though you think it's like a big coarse thing to attach to a sign like this, it was actually really easy to attach. And that kind of gave me a winter vibe to the top of our Hello Winter sign. We have the snowflakes on the bottom. And I think this turned out really rustic and cute. So here it is, our little Hello Winter sign. Another fun winter Dollar Tree DIY for you today. I had so much white paint on my hands after all these projects. But I really am glad that I went with the white, the wood, the neutral colors. This is going to go great with my coastal decor. Can really use it in any room of my house. And it's going to make everything look so cozy and warm for winter with all these fun DIYs. Isn't that so cute? And so this is actually a thrift sign. I got this half price at Goodwill, so it was like $1.50. I like to get like good heavy wood signs there. You can get them almost as cheap as the Dollar Tree, but you're going to have like a real wood heavy duty sign. But you could always do this DIY on a Dollar Tree sign or something that you have. I'm going over the whole thing in white. I used a little bit too much paint, but I'm trying to smooth that out. Basically, I want to cover up all that white writing that was already on our sign. The signs on this were painted like a distressed white, so they're perfect. I just kind of need to get rid of that to give me a blank canvas. And now I'm going to go in and paint it. I'm going to mix my own color. This is Caribbean blue mixed with white. I wanted like a real light, icy looking blue that'd be good for winter, but it's also going to go great with my coastal decor in my house. So we're just going to paint this sign all over with that pretty blue color. I'm not going to paint the sides. I'm going to leave the sides white. I kind of like the two-tone, and I like that they're kind of like roughed up a little bit and a little bit rustic. And I'm kind of, letting a little bit of that white show through just to kind of add a little bit of distress on the sign so it'll kind of look coastal without having to go back and distress it. And this is what it looks like at this point. Now I wanted to use some of this Dollar Tree rope. This is the skinnier, the 11-foot white rope. And one package is plenty for this DIY. And I wanted to make a rope snowflake. I've never tried that before, but I thought it would probably be pretty easy with this width of rope. So I'm going to give it my best go. It doesn't turn out perfect, but every snowflake is different, right? So I cut a piece to size just to go all the way down the middle, and I'm just attaching that to our sign with hot glue. And I used my ruler so I could kind of find, the center of the sign. And I want to make this like a 6-sided snowflake. And so I want to have little snowflake rays going out in every direction. I use my ruler again to kind of find the halfway point of that rope that I put down originally so I would know where to go. I kind of wish I would have angled these two on this side a little bit more towards each other, because in the end, they're not quite the same distance. I guess maybe we need to use a little bit more mathematical tools here. What is that called? Like a protractor? And so I just cut 4 pieces all about the same size, and I have those going out in all the different directions. Now, I wanted it to look like a snowflake that has like the little, rays coming off of it. I was trying to determine if I could fit 2 on each one, and I can. The only problem is that I kind of, put the 3 on the bottom and 3 on the top a little close to each other, so it does get a little bit crowded, but I just kind of cut them short and made it work. You kind of have to be careful though, because if you cut the little pieces of rope too small, they'll start to unwind. And if that happens, you can always kind of glue it back to each other. But I'm trying not to mess with them too much before I just glue them down. And so you can see the little pattern that I'm doing here. Kind of like a double arrow pattern there on my snowflake. And then I want to go ahead and do that with the other 5 parts of our snowflake. This DIY was so easy to put together, and it looks like so high end. It looks so expensive, the final product. And I just made it for a couple of dollars. So this is where I started noticing that I was a little crowded down here. So that's when I started cutting some smaller pieces to make it fit. And that's what I mean by gluing the pieces together if they start to unwind a little bit. Because you can only cut this so short without it unwinding a little bit. But I needed them to be a little bit shorter so that we could get them to fit. And then we're just going to go ahead and do the other side here on the bottom. I thought about adding 2 more rays to this and making it like an 8-sided, since I was kind of off on my measurements on the sides, but then I decided that would be even more crowded, so we're just going to leave this like a 6-sided snowflake. So that's where we are so far, and then I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing here on the top. Kind of starting in the middle that time, so I kind of had a little bit more room to work with that, and then doing the 2 on the sides. And this is basically all we're going to do for this DIY. I don't think it needs any kind of more decor. You could always add like a seashell or something to yours. I thought about adding like a sand dollar to the middle, but I kind of liked it as is, so I kind of left it alone at this point. But this is a great sign because it's really heavy duty, so I can like use it as a shelf sitter to sit on my shelf, or I can hang it on the wall, no problems. All right, just finishing that up. Basically lots of cutting and lots of hot gluing down, and you have a little rope snowflake. I think it's so cute. I love doing anything I can with Dollar Tree rope. I think it always looks really nice and coastal, and I think this looks great for winter. That's kind of how it would look if I would have added like another row to it. I contemplated it. It would have looked good, but I decided against it. So this is our final product, a little 6-sided rope snowflake.
This was so much fun. I think it's kind of a no-brainer to use that white rope from the Dollar Tree to make a snowflake. Really fun. You don't have to have any specific winter items from the Dollar Tree. And again, you could do this on any sign, any kind of Dollar Tree sign. But I do kind of prefer that heavy-duty signs that I can get at Goodwill sometimes. Even though my Goodwill doesn't tend to have the great sales anymore.
I wanted to make like a wood stick tree. I like to use like trees after Christmas, as long as you use the right colors, it's going to go great with your winter decor as long as you're not putting ornaments on them or you don't really have any red. And so I'm using just a foam cone from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to cover it in masking tape. The reason I'm covering it in masking tape is because I'm going to be using a lot of hot glue on this DIY. And anytime I'm going to hot glue to that foam, it's going to melt and sizzle. And if you put the masking tape down, you can glue it to that. And you're not going to have quite that chemical and heat reaction on that. So that's what I did. And then I just wanted to use some of these wood stems from the Dollar Tree. And I wanted to make like a wood stem Christmas tree. I've never seen anybody do one of these. And I thought it would be really cute. So I'm going to start out here on the bottom and just start gluing a twig down. As you can see, there's many different shapes and sizes of those twigs, but usually when they put the wood stems together, they give you like kind of like sizes and lengths together in one bag. And I did have one bag of like really skinny that had opened there, but I'm going to kind of, piece it together. I'm trying to use like different colors, shapes, and sizes as I glue these all the way around. And I want to kind of build this like I have built like the driftwood tree and stuff like that in the past, where, I do a row like this and then I'm going to overlap. Now, I did kind of struggle having enough to cover it with that one bag of skinny ones, but I did have a few more skinny ones that I was able to work it in. But I love these. I've been stockpiling these because I'm not used to my Dollar Tree carrying these, and they've been having them a lot lately. And I haven't really made a lot of stuff with them yet. So I was excited to use them for this project. And this is a little bit like driftwood as well, where you're kind of putting it together like a puzzle, trying to find out which piece would fit. And this is how my first row looks. And it's okay that some of them are longer than the others, because then we're going to go back and start overlapping with this layer. Just overlapping a little bit. So to do that, I'm just doing like a dot of hot glue on the cone and a dot of hot glue where I think it's going to go on the next row. And then I'm just going to keep building, trying to keep like in a row, but it definitely doesn't have to be even. I kind of like the imperfect look of this. And if you have little gaps like that, you can always fill it in with little tiny pieces like that or little broken pieces, and just keep working our way around. And you can see that I'm trying to mix it up a little bit, like different depths, different um, colors of the wood when I can. And it's just going to make it look more, more fun. So some of the pieces are like curved. Those don't work very well. I kind of really wanted to go with just the straight ones. And there is our second layer. I'm trying to find the perfect piece to fill in the last gap. And that's what it looks like at this point. Out of all of my DIYs today, this one definitely took the longest, but man, it turned out so nice and beautiful and so high end. I can't believe I made it with just a couple of dollars. Basically, I made it with one bag of these wood stems from the Dollar Tree and one of those wood cones. So like I spent like maybe $2.50. And so what a great deal, because this would have cost so much more if you were to buy this in a home decor store. Now I'm working on my third row. If you start going, kind of sideways, you can kind of straighten it out, kind of put a smaller piece in between to kind of fill the gap, because I really don't want any of the cone to be visible. So if I can fill in the holes the best I can, I definitely do. And just finishing up this row, I basically want to cover up all of the tape that you can see, all of the foam. And so we can go up to a point. So just starting another row, it's going to start getting easier here because there's less to go around. But again, trying to fill up any gaps and providing a nice little overlap there as we build. I would like to take this moment to thank you so much for watching today's video. If you wouldn't mind, I would love it if you hit the like button. It definitely helps my YouTube algorithm. And after you're done watching, be sure to comment your favorite DIY below or just reach out to say hello, because all those YouTube things are always going to help our channel here at Crafty Beach. And I'm trying to get to 11,000 subscribers, and we are so close by the end of the year. So if you haven't subscribed, over half of you guys are not subscribed. Please do it, because it does help you find my videos and it helps me here on YouTube as well. I know I put in, I sent out an SOS the other day that YouTube was really not showing my content very much, and they did send me a message about that, saying less people were clicking on my videos, and when they were clicking on my videos, they weren't watching them as long. So I would really appreciate your support, because if YouTube is not recommending my content to people, then people aren't going to see it, and it's really going to hurt the channel. So I would appreciate any views that I could get from you, and I always appreciate all of your support. So as you can see, we've built all the way up to the top of the tree, but I still have like the top part. So I thought I would use just like one of the bigger diameter pieces of wood, kind of glue that to the top, because it doesn't go all the way to a point. And that's going to kind of give me a point where I can glue pieces to go from what I have and connect it to that top part. Just trying to finish it off the best that I can. And I just have a little bit left here to cover. And I was kind of running out of pieces at this point, but we did it. We made it all the way here to the end. And so I think it looks really cute like this, and this would look really cute rustic and stuff. But I am going to paint it to make it look even more wintry. I am just trying to get all the strings of hot glue off of there with my heat gun. And this is what our great little wood stem tree looks like at this point. This would be a great Christmas decoration as well, but I love the fact that you could leave it out all winter. Now I'm using a chunky brush and just some white acrylic, and you can see I'm just kind of making it look like there's a little bit of snow, just a little dusting of snow all over, kind of where snow would accumulate on this tree. And this is going to give it that wintry vibe that I'm really wanting to go with for my winter decor. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way to the bottom. This also brightens it up quite a bit too, because a lot of that wood was kind of a darker brown. But it definitely added a lot more character to the piece.
So that's pretty much all there is to it. We have a little snowy wood stem Christmas tree. I absolutely love how this turned out. I'm going to display mine on my console table in my entryway, and I'm going to pair it together with some other like rustic Christmas trees that I have or that I've DIY'd. But it was really fun to make. Kind of another option. I know I've done a driftwood kind of option of this, but this is a Dollar Tree wood stem version of the tree. And it doesn't have to be a Christmas tree. It can just be a winter tree.
Let's do another Dollar Tree winter DIY. This one's going to be a Dollar Tree sign, and we're going to kind of do that same theme of white, glitter, wood, and stuff like that. So the wood round from the Dollar Tree, I'm just going to stain it the same finish that we stained the wood beads. I'm just going to do Antique Wax by Waverly, not too much, and then just spread that out with a baby wipe to give me that nice medium stain. And you can see that beautiful wood grain coming out of the wood. So easy to do, and just very rustic and charming. I'm not going to frame it or border it or anything like that, because the snowflake we're going to put on the front of it is nice and thick, so together it really made a nice piece. So it did kind of want to bow a little bit though, because it was really wet and it's really thin. I can kind of fix that when I add the snowflakes, but I did go ahead and just put something heavy on it to help flatten that out. Now, the snowflake is made out of MDF, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill the hanger hole in it with some spackle, and then we can start painting this. Now, probably the easiest way to paint this would be like with white spray paint, because it's thick and there's lots of like holes, as you can see, and pattern going on here. but it was pouring rain. And I did have to go outside and do some spray painting in this episode. And it was a battle. But I'm just going to do it with white acrylic. And I just trying to work in one direction. And I was using my chunky brush from the Dollar Tree, and those are great for distressing. Not so great for a project like this. I found that I kept just losing like bristles out of my brush. That's so frustrating. But I was trying to get as good a coverage as I can. The MDF I find a little bit harder to paint than like the raw wood projects. It's going to soak up your paint and take more. So that's how it looked after one coat. And I'm going in with a second coat. I don't mind if some of the brown shows through a little bit to kind of give it a distressed feel to the snowflake, but I want it to be mostly white if I can get it white. The trouble with this project was just all the little places where, the white could drip, the white paint. And I don't really mind it being kind of distressed on the sides. I just didn't want any obvious like drips anywhere where you're going to be able to see it. And as you can see, I did have to go in even with a third coat to get good coverage. That's why I was saying spray paint might be easier, but you know what? I don't know if I've ever spray painted an MDF project. It would probably work. Now, this is the next item. I wanted my white glitter and I couldn't find it, so I went to the store to get white glitter, and of course they didn't have any. But Dollar General had some of this iridescent glitter paint, and so I thought I might as well try it because they were completely out of glitter. And so I went all over it with a coat of it. It did make it a little bit glittery, a little bit sparkly, but you're just not getting very much bang for your buck in there. So I did have to go over with another coat, trying to spread it all over to try to make it glisten as much as I could get it. And I still wasn't happy with that, so I went over it with another one. And I'll probably find my white glitter. That's the only color I couldn't find, as soon as I'm done with this project, of course. Then I decided I kind of wanted some texture to my snowflake too, to make it look like it was covered in snow. So I'm just going to paint some school glue all over the front of it and then go in with some of the Dollar Tree white sand again, this time to kind of give it a texture of like snow. I really want this to kind of be a special snowflake we're going to add to the sign. So I'm just going to kind of sprinkle the white sand all over my school glue. And I did like that kind of gave me the texture that I was missing from not having real powdered glitter. But then it wasn't very sparkly, so I did go over that with another coat of my iridescent glitter. This stuff was only $1 at Dollar General. It worked okay. I wish it could be a little bit more sparkly, but we're gonna make it work. But I think I'm happy with it at this point, so we can start putting this together. I'm just going to use some twine from the Dollar Tree and make my own hanger. Just kind of string it from the back, knot it in the front, and do the same thing here on the other side. And, these wood rounds aren't my favorite because they're thin, but whenever you kind of layer signs like this from the Dollar Tree together, you can definitely make a more substantial sign, and that's what we're going to do. It ended up being plenty thick in the end. I kind of want it to be like straight up and down on there like that. And it's just a matter of gluing it on. I just put hot glue on all of like the straight lines going across and try to get it on there as fast as I can before any of my hot glue starts to set up. And as you can see, it fits on there just perfectly. So you have that nice rustic stained wood background. We have a white glittery textured snowflake on the front, and it turned out pretty special. Now, a lot of times I like to do like a bow or something on the plain hanger, but I didn't really want to go frilly, so I decided to use a little bit more of the snow greenery from the Dollar Tree. I picked up 2 of these little pieces, and I thought I could have one go down each side of the handle, but I do want it to look snowy because, that's our snowy winter theme today. So I'm going to take some of that white acrylic and the chunky brush, and I'm just going to dust my leaves to kind of give it that little bit more of a snowy feel. It's really easy to kind of flock stuff with just white paint. You can get a very similar look. And once I got those on there, it's just a matter of attaching those to the little hanger. And I'm glad I added this because it did add a fun little touch. So I just cut down a couple pieces of twine. That way I can tie it on each side. I just went from the back and At first I thought there was a hole in them, but there really isn't. I'm just gonna tie them tight and then go around to the back, tie them again. And then I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. And this did add a little bit of fun to the hanger and just give another little texture and touch to this project. Once I got them on there, I kind of tied them to each other just again to make it a little bit stable, get that V shape on my hanger, and then just trim off the excess jute twine. And we have another winter DIY complete. I think this one turned out really pretty. I would have preferred the glitter, but we did get some shimmer with that iridescent glitter, and I do like the texture that the white sand added to it. As you can see in this picture, that just the sand really added just so much detail, but by having all that texture on that, it just kind of made it extra special, I think. So what do you guys think about my little snowflake sign DIY? Be sure to let me know your favorite DIY in the comments below. It really does help my videos, and I love hearing from you guys. This is that snowman wreath form from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to give it a beachy makeover using some Dollar Tree rope. So this is the one that we are going to use. It's the 8-foot brown nautical rope. And this project is so easy. We are just simply going to line. It's got two wreath forms you see, one inside the other. And so we're just going to hot glue the rope on each one of those. So I'm going to start it here at the neck. I think that's a good place to start seam-wise. And then we're just going to glue this all around the side. I'm working on a silicone mat, and so that helps any of the hot glue that this isn't sticking to anything. It's going to be easy to remove. So if you're not, be careful with this step. And just gluing it all around. I'm going to go ahead and just continue this piece. Once I get to the top here, because as you can see, we're going to have a little bit of overlap going on there anyway when the head part of the snowman comes into play. And just gluing this all around, and I can then cut it once I get to the top of this circle. And that took pretty much a whole package of that. And we're just going to secure that with hot glue. You could also do this with the white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree as well. I'm going to kind of hot glue the end and kind of blend that in more to the top. But I plan to add a scarf anyway, which is going to kind of cover up some of that area. I've seen so many cute DIYs with these little snowman wreath forms. I love all of them. I think they're so cute. I love snowmen. They've always been part of my winter decor for sure. And I love that you can leave them up like all the way to like Valentine's Day, right? And so we're doing the same thing here for the head of the snowman. Gonna do the outer one first. And once I get that all secure, I can go around on the inner one. If you had like a larger rope, you might not have to do 2 rows. You might be able to do just 1. But with the Dollar Tree, it definitely took 2 rows of this. And there's our little nautical rope snowman, and then we just need to decorate him a little more. I'm going to go ahead and use a lighter to burn off all the fuzzies here, just to make it look a little bit nicer. And I have this one hanging up this year. I absolutely love it. I think it's so fun. I wanted to do the arms, and so I switched to the thinner brown rope from the Dollar Tree for the arms. You'll see I actually end up adding to this, but it's fine as is. I'm just going to glue a piece, the length of it, and then glue 2 shorter pieces of rope, like for the little snowman hand. I end up adding coral to this, which not really necessary, but I really liked the beachy touch. You'll see here in a little bit. And if you didn't want to do this part, you could always remove the arms and add some of the wire jute from the Dollar Tree. That would work really well too. But since the rope on this was pretty thick, it kind of looks like the arms need to be kind of thick as well.
Now this is what we're going to use for the hat and scarf. It's one of the light blue baby blankets from the Dollar Tree. I love working with this stuff. It's so easy to cut. It's like a felt. It's super soft. And it is the perfect beachy color. So I'm just going to cut, I'm going to double it up so you can't see that reform behind the fabric. And I'm just going to cut a little rectangular piece that is the size of the hat. And you could always mix this up, whatever. I think burlap would look really cute too if you were using like the white rope for the snowman. And I'm just going to kind of leave the seam part of the blanket on there and have that be the top part of the hat. And it's going to give me a nice finished edge. But again, this is felt super easy to cut and it doesn't fray. Gets a little trickier right here because I kind of have to cut a little bit of an arc. And I got that trimmed down to size. So now we can just glue that on. I just put hot glue all over the wreath form and glue the baby blanket down. Now I also need to do a brim of the hat. So again, I'm just going to use that baby blanket and I am going to go ahead and use the seam that's already on there. I'm going to double it up like I did before so you can't see through it. Nice thick piece of fabric and just cut off a little brim. Just trim that up to make sure that it looks perfect, and then we're just going to attach that with hot glue, and we have a quick, easy little hat for our snowman wreath. Now, I wanted to give it some beachy decor, so I'm giving it one of these little sand dollars I get on Amazon, available in my shop, but you can always use the one from the Dollar Tree. It's a tiny bit bigger. And then I thought, you know, I have to use some of these little coral trees from the Dollar Tree for the arms. I just have to. So I'm just going to break off the end of the, the trunk of the tree, because I really think these look like coral. Now, I could have removed the arms and added these, but it probably wouldn't have been as strong. So I'm just going to add them to what I've already got. But again, this part's optional if you've already used all of your coral ornaments from making my coral wreath and my coral Christmas tree. I love both of those this year. They're so much fun. If you haven't seen those, you'll have to go check out those videos. I did both of those this year. So I'm just going to hot glue one ornament onto each side, and we have little coral arms for our little coastal winter snowman. I think this is so fun, and it was so easy to put together. Now the only thing I have left to make with this baby blanket is a scarf. So I'm just going to cut a strip, again using the seam. Always using the seam to my advantage there to get a straight line, and just a simple strip. And then we're just going to wrap that around his neck like a scarf. And just gluing that on so it stays in place. Now you can use this indoor or outdoor. I use it indoor, but it would totally hold up outside as well, I think. The felt might get a little dirty depending on if you have a porch or not, but this is how it turned out. This is on the door to my garage. I think it's so fun. And definitely a fun way to DIY those wire reforms. Sometimes they can be a little challenging trying to figure out exactly what to cover them with, but when all else fails, I usually turn to the Dollar Tree rope. I love it.
This DIY, I wanted to make another tree, another winter tree, and I'm going to use 2 of these little microfiber mop heads from the Dollar Tree and a party hat. I like to use these party hats from the Dollar Tree because I find they're pretty readily available to make trees. You can always do it out of cardboard and make your own shape. I'm just going to try to get all this tinsel stuff off of it first, so kind of get it out of my way. And I'm going to kind of use this as is. If you wanted a skinnier, taller tree, you could take it apart and wind it tighter and glue it to itself, and you could have a skinnier tree, but I'm going with a kind of a fat, chunky tree on this. I'm not going to use the whole thing, but I'm going to use most of it for this DIY. I'm just going to cover it with this microfiber mop head. I thought we could make, I've been seeing like the white fuzzy Christmas trees, and I thought I could definitely make something like that with these mop heads for sure. I don't normally like cutting them too much, but I think we can use most of them intact. So I'm going to kind of do it like this, wind it around by doing it straight at the top, like that. I'm going to glue straight up and down, the piece sideways, trying to make sure that I cover the very tip because I don't want any of that color showing through from the party hat, and wrap it all the way around like this. On this piece, I'm going to go ahead and put some hot glue on the hat and the mop head and pull it around in a spiral. You can always kind of push on the inside of your party hat as well, but be careful that is really hot even through the party hat. So we got our first one attached. That's what it looks like at this point. It looks kind of crazy, but we're going to fill the rest of that in, well, most of it, with our second little mop head. This DIY was definitely easy to put together, and it looks so cute. So I'm just going to start where I stopped with the next mop head like that, and I'm going to continue this spiral pattern all the way around. Now, I just measured to see how long it was going to need to be because I want all of it to be covered with fluff, and this is about as tall as I can make it. So I'm just going to cut it as size, and I'm using the part of the hat that I'm cutting away as kind of a stencil of how to cut that, because you do kind of have to cut it, at an arc. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around, and I'm going to do this before I put our second mop head on there. I think it's going to be easier to cut kind of one mop head at a time here. I'm going to switch to my sharp fabric scissors so I can cut through all that fluff that I'd already glued down to that part of the hat. And now we just have a shorter hat. The reason I cut it at that point is so I would know exactly how big I could make it. And now we can start where we stopped, and we're going to start one mop head, just pair it up where the other one stopped. They are kind of rounded on the edges, so you kind of have to work in that little area to make sure that it's all fluffed up and you can't see any of that party hat behind it. And then we're going to continue gluing this down in a spiral pattern around our tree, making sure that's secure. You can always push inside the hat and all the way down here until we do our final little corner of the hat. We will have some excess fabric here. And you can kind of see at this point where I got the height. That's how far it is going down there on the shorter side of the mop head. And just trying to make sure that final piece is glued and secure. And then all we have to do is cut off the excess fabric. So not too much cutting of this fabric because it does kind of like to shed and make a mess when you cut it. So I'm just trying to cut it in one strip there with my fabric scissors. Try not to make too much of a mess, but be prepared. It will shed a little bit down there at the bottom. And just trimming that off. You're also going to need to kind of fluff it up there at the bottom, kind of see any pieces that need to be trimmed off, but you can kind of use some of it to fill in any gaps as well. As you saw me just gluing some back up in there, but just trimming off any longer pieces that might be obvious. And this is just a really easy, fluffy white tree, perfect for winter. And I'm just fluffing it out, making sure that all of it's covered and it looks really nice. And I'm not going to decorate or anything like that. I just want a nice white snowy tree. I think I'm going to display this with some of those little white deer from the Dollar Tree. I think it's going to be really pretty together for winter. You could always put it on a skewer or dowel and make it like a standing one, but I'm just going to have it straight on my table like this, just a white fluffy Christmas tree.
And I actually end up pairing this with the wood stem Christmas tree too. What a great contrast together. And you can't have too many of these trees around. I love decorating with them for Christmas and for winter.
We're going to start with one of these little wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. And I wanted to try to see if I could make coral snowflakes. I know we have made a coral wreath and a coral Christmas tree, and so I thought we would try snowflakes this time. This is the color I'm going to use. It is Caribbean blue. I just wanted something beachy and blue. And I really almost kind of want to stain this wood round instead of painting it. So I'm just going to put a really thin coat of this acrylic blue all over. And then before it dries, I'm going to try wiping a lot of it off with a baby wipe. That way I can get some of the wood grain to show through, and it kind of adds to the coastal beachy look, I always think. Just want it to look a little bit tinted, less painted. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a really pretty wood grain in that wood. And now let's start building a coral snowflake. These are the little tree ornaments from the Dollar Tree. I love these. I always try to stock up on these whenever I see them. Kind of use them year round because I really think they look like coral. And so we are going to make an 8-pointed, I guess, snowflake for the first one, which is a lot of points. But you know, each snowflake's a little bit different. So this one's going to be have a lot of different coral pieces sticking out. Now, to make it look like coral, I just like to pop off the little trunk. And I used to cut these off, but I have found that it's made out of plastic. It's just easier just to pop them off. So I'm going to do that on all 8 of them. And that's really the only modification I'm going to do on them. They're white. They have glitter all over them. They're super pretty. And so I'm just going to go ahead and reuse the hanger that came with the wood round. I stocked up on these wood rounds. I got a whole case on DollarTree.com, so I don't have to worry about finding them. I love them. And I'm going to start mapping this out. So north, south, east, west, and then we're going to put one in between each one. And then this one's going to be a full one. We're going to do 2 different varieties of these today. And they are a little bit more 3D on one side than the other side, the ornament. So you're going to want to make sure that you have them all go the same way. And then to tie it all together for the center of the snowflake, I thought a sand dollar from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. You could use really anything that was circular, but I thought that was just screaming for a sand dollar, right? And so let's start attaching these. I'm going to use the flatter side down. I first attempt to glue it on both ends, but it's kind of shaped in a way where it's better just to glue the tip where the little hanger is down. And it kind of like makes it stick out a little bit, which is fine. It actually adds to it, but make sure that your glue gets dry before you let go of it, because they kind of want to come off, and really this is the only thing securing it down at this point. So I'm going to do that to all 8 of them. I'm almost going to the edge, pretty close to the edge with all of these. But I also have it where I want to cover up all those holes in the little coral ornaments with the sand dollar, so I want to make sure those are kind of tight in there. Now, the sand dollar from the Dollar Tree, they're really cute. They're plastic. They're not real, but they're kind of a grayish tint for some reason. So I'm going to paint this a nice snowy white to kind of coordinate with that coral, just by doing a couple of thin coats of white acrylic, just making sure if you get any in the little holes that you clean up any drips in there. I almost wanted it to be like white sparkly glitter like the ornaments, but I didn't have any glitter, so I'm gonna improvise with some glossy Mod Podge and just make it shiny and white. That'll kind of make it go well, just to kind of make it match the coral. And my first idea was to do this without like the wood round behind it. And I'm sure you could do it. I just thought it might be sturdier this way, and then I could do a punch of color behind the snowflake. But I'm curious if any of you guys make this without the wood round behind it. You just connect the ornaments to the sand dollar. Oh, please post it in my Facebook group. I would love to see it. And even if you make these, I want to see them in my Facebook group. Please show me. I love to see your all's different takes on my DIYs. Now, my first attempt is just to put a little glue on each one of the hangers. But that did not really line up very well with the sand dollar. It really wasn't glued on there. So I'm going to do hot glue all around the edges of it, where it kind of sits down more. And then sit that on there, and that worked. And there it is. We have a little snowflake made out of coral. I think it's so fun. I thought the hanger was a little boring and it needed something, so I'm going to use some of this ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I think it kind of looks like fishing net. And I am just going to take a little piece of it that I had left over from another DIY and just tie that onto the hanger with some twine. And that's it, basically. I'm going to cut off the excess twine and just have that kind of hang down on each side of the hanger. I thought it just added a little something coastal and nautical to our little snowflake. And I love how this one turned out. I was thinking if you did a whole bunch of these, you could have them like snowflakes falling down your wall. It'd be really cute. But this is how it looks on the side of my cabinet in my kitchen.
And you guys know I'm always trying to find a way to craft those little coral tree ornaments from the Dollar Tree. I stock up on these every year because there's so many fun things you can make with them. I want to do a separate version of this in a different color scheme to see how that looks too. Now up next, we're going to do an Arctic Animals Winter Tier Tray DIY with lots of fun ideas.
So this is some of the fake snow that I picked up on clearance at Target, but it's pretty similar to the fake snow that you can get at Dollar Tree too. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of make it snow here on my tier, kind of fill that in, make it look like, the ground is covered with a layer of snow. Now, this is just a tree, a galvanized metal tree that I got at Dollar Tree of like just a little evergreen trim tree, super basic. I'm not going to need to do anything to it. I'm just going to kind of put that in the back on the top to give me a little tree in the back, a little background, and it's a nice tall piece, so it's going to stand up high. We're going to be able to see it. And then to kind of cover up the base, I just sprinkle a little bit more snow. Now, this is a Dollar Tree ornament. It's like their little snowy owl. So even though this isn't a Christmas tier tray, it's a winter tier tray that you can leave up all year. You can definitely use Christmas ornaments for this. I did kind of want to take some of the red off of it since I wasn't doing Christmas, but the pine cones look really cute on there. And I did kind of want to pull off a little bit more of the color. So I also pulled off like the greenery there too. And then I'm just going to reattach this little pine cone because those are kind of cute and totally go with the theme. And it's just like kind of an ivory, whitish, fluffy little owl that we can put on the tier tray. Super cute. He did have a little bit falling apart here. Sometimes those Dollar Tree ornaments can, but you can usually fix them pretty well like that if you're going to be kind of taking yours apart and rearranging it a little bit. But I just wanted to remove any Christmas touches from the little snowy owl before we added that to it. Now, I want to do like a little fun theme where all the winter creatures are all dressed for the warm. And so I'm going to bring in a little blue. This is the light blue baby blanket from Dollar Tree, and it's an excellent source of light blue felt. And I am just cutting out 2 circles out of the little baby blanket, and we are going to make earmuffs for this little guy. I thought that would be a fun theme we're going to be able to do. I'm going to be using some of the Target ornaments as well. And I just wanted to like little winter creatures all bundled up for winter. So I just hot glue one of the circles to each side of his little head. And then with some of my scrap fabric, I can just cut out like just a strip of that felt to connect it together to make it look like a set of earmuffs. I remember those. It's been a while. I was looking at stocking hats today at Target going, I don't know if I have a stocking hat. I'm going to have to buy one. But I don't think it's going to be very cold when I'm visiting the Midwest for Christmas. I guess we'll see. But there he is. After our little makeover, we have our little snowy owl with a set of earmuffs just for fun. He's got a little burlap belly and burlap eyes, so I think those are super cute. And we're going to put him right up here on the other side of the back of our tier tray, and he stands up with those little pine cone legs. And I just want to put him there where you can kind of see him from the side. Now, the next item, I got this at the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. It is a little light up snowflake. I thought that would be perfect for like a winter themed tier tray. But I don't want to leave it like natural like that. So I'm going to kind of incorporate that very, very icy light blue by mixing some Caribbean blue and some white together to give me this icy blue color. And we're just going to paint the very front of the little Dollar Tree snowflake. And I'm not going to bother painting the inside of it. It's a little too hard to get into. But I can go ahead and add a little bit of detail here to the front, just using a white paint pen and drawing a snowflake right there on the front, just to give a little bit more interest to it. You could kind of see that it was kind of sketched on there, like burnt in. And I'm just going to draw all the little pieces of the snowflake on there. Easy peasy. Perfect item for a little tier tray. And I love that it lights up. It's going to look so great on that fake snow. Now, this is a little snowy squirrel Christmas ornament that I got at Target on clearance. And I thought he'd be perfect because he is skiing. So I'm just going to take the little ornament hanger out of the top of his head. He has got like covered in white felt, and he has that white bushy tail. And then we're going to use that baby blanket from Dollar Tree again. And we are going to bundle him up for winter too. It's going to cover that hole that was kind of left in the top of his head. I thought we could make it look like he's wearing like a little stocking hat. So I just cut a little piece of felt out, and I cut little holes in it for his ears. So his little ears will poke through the little hat. And then I'm just going to cut kind of an oval shape here to try to fit this on his head. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that over each ear once I get it cut down, kind of wrapping it around his head like that. I want it to look like a tight little beanie, and so I do kind of have to pull it tight there in the back, and I did have a little excess fabric. Then I'm going to go in here and kind of cut a piece of just the hem off. I thought that would be a really good brim of the hat to make it look like a beanie that's like folded over. So I'm just going to glue that little piece of the seam. So even the seam of the little baby blanket from the Dollar Tree, you can totally use it for DIY projects like this. And it gives kind of a different look and kind of finishes off the little look of the stocking hat on our little snowy squirrel that is skiing. Isn't that so cute? I thought maybe I could continue that all the way around, so I cut off another piece of that seam and wrapped it around the back of his head there, for the back of his hat too, just to completely finish him off. And we're going to put him right here in front. He stands up on his own on his skis, and I think he looks really cute there. I love like this snowy animal theme. I think it's so fun for winter, and again, not very Christmassy. But we are going to be using some of these bottle brush trees with the snow all over them from the Dollar Tree Christmas section, because they're not Christmassy. They just look snowy. So I'm going to go ahead and just put one right there, and we'll use those for filler. I also picked up this little bottle brush tree that's like already kind of an ivory white color at the Target dollar spot. And I thought that would be a fun little variety too, bringing in a little bit of the creamy color to go with all of the white. Now, I told you I got a bunch of these ornaments at Target on clearance last year. So these were on clearance or regularly $10. But look, you get 3 ornaments. They had a little, snowy reindeer, a polar bear, like an Arctic hare. Super cute. I'm going to kind of give them a little bit of a makeover though. This one kind of had a scarf already on it, but I went ahead and took that off. Here is the little Arctic hare and the polar bear, just kind of removing that scarf on that one as well. I wanted to kind of make them look warm and cozy like I did the other ones, but I don't want them to have like the white stuff that they had on there. I want to bring in that touch of blue again. So I'm going back after that baby blanket and just using the seam for a straight line. I'm just going to go ahead and cut out a long strip of that, and we can do a little DIY scarf that we can wrap around the little deer, his neck like that. And I didn't quite cut it long enough to tie it, but we can kind of crisscross this, make it work. And just hot gluing it to keep it in place, just wrapping it all the way around like that, where part of the scarf comes down in front, give him kind of that bundle look. He does have like glittered antlers, but I think he's super cute, and I think he's going to look really good on there for the winter tier tray. Now for the other little animals, I cut out another strip for this guy. I thought we could give him a scarf too. I didn't really know what else to do with him, so I just cut out another strip and just hot glued the little scarf to itself like that, and makes a little polar bear look like he's bundled up as well. Isn't he so cute? I love polar bears. I think they're so beautiful. And then here is our little Arctic hare. He did have like a glittery little like collar thing on him anyway. So I did go ahead and cut that off too. I was trying to remove as much of the glittery stuff, the white stuff like that as I could on those, and kind of replace it with the blue since that's what we used on the other little creatures. So I cut like just a little strip to make a collar because his kind of looked like a collar. And I'm going to kind of replace it just kind of like what he had before, but this time in blue. And you can go ahead and leave the seam on there. It just adds a little stitching effect on that. And it makes it really cute when you're DIYing little felt creatures like this. Isn't that so cute? And I got a great deal on those. I haven't been in the ornament section at Target in a few days. I'm not sure what kind of deals they have yet, but clearance is probably not far away on their little ornaments. But we got the top tier done on this one, and this is how it looks so far. Now, the next DIY, we're going to make a wood bead garland for the tier tray. And I found this white one at the Dollar Tree. It's got a tassel on it already, and it's got like a rainbow on it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cut the rainbow off. And then I picked up a Dollar Tree Christmas ornament, and this is the galvanized metal snowflake. I thought that would be perfect. It's not colorful or anything like that. I just go ahead and remove like the black and white buffalo check bow, and then we can just use like the twine that's on here to actually just tie it to the ornament. And we have a winter themed wood bead garland. Could not be any easier than that. They have these white ones, and they're also like black ones with the rainbows on them like that. But they can be great. I like to try to pick them up and use them year round. So easy peasy, little snowflake wood bead garland. And I'm going to kind of put mine up here where it's kind of hanging over that little like handle at the top of the tier tray to kind of decorate the pole area like that. And then I can kind of string that where it'll kind of go down onto the second tier as well and add a little bit of fun. I love a good wood bead garland for a tier tray. Just trying to make sure that everything's still kind of standing up and everything is where it should be. And there is little snowflake. These are from Dollar Spot at Target. They were $3 for 3 of them, and they are just little white plastic deer. I thought these would be perfect. They're kind of a felted material, so they're kind of nice. And for $1 a piece, I think they're perfect. One of them's laying down, and the other 2 are standing up. You could totally use the ones from Dollar Tree that are clear acrylic and just paint them white if you can't find these. But I thought these would be great to kind of scatter around. They're nice and tall, so we can put them down here on the bottom tier to give a little height. And then I also picked up this little white ceramic Christmas tree at Dollar Tree. It is like unfinished ceramic, but we're just going to leave it white because I think that's perfect. And then I also picked up one like this as well, and one like this. Aren't they so cool? I thought that would be perfect for a winter theme. And so we're going to kind of just put some of these little ceramic Christmas trees all around. I know Dollar Spot at Target has these kind of trees a lot as well, if you can't find any at your Dollar Tree. But I just kind of stagger them around the bottom tier. They're the perfect size for a tier tray. Now the next DIY, I'm just going to use a Dollar Tree square sign and one of their little wood ornament snowflakes, and we're just going to make a super easy little tier tray sign. The first thing I'm going to do is just paint the little white snowflake and with white acrylic. And I thought we would continue like that white snowy theme with like accents of like the icy blue. I love using blue for tier trays for winter. We're going to have another one later on in this video. We're going to be doing a coastal winter tier tray, and we're also going to be doing like a ski lodge tier tray. Super fun. And I love these little signs from the Dollar Tree. I try to pick them up, not necessarily for what they have on them, but that they're the perfect size for tier tray. So I'm just going to kind of make mine a blank canvas by painting it with white acrylic. And then that's going to kind of mask the words that's on there so that I can just start over and paint it whatever color that I want. And so I'm going to mix white with that Caribbean blue. It gives me this perfect icy blue color. And I'm just going to paint the sign that color. And then it's going to look great when I add like the little white snowflake on the front of it. And super easy. Couldn't get much easier than that DIY. Just a little bit of painting and assembling. So I got that dry. And we can just glue that right to the front. I want to make sure that my snowflake is good and dry though, because I don't want any of the paint to kind of drip onto it. I just put a little hot glue and just glue that right there in the center of the little Dollar Tree sign. Then to cover the hole in the snowflake for the hanger, I just take a little Dollar Tree twine and we're just going to tie a simple little decorative bow that we can use to cover that up. It's a great way to kind of mask those because, you know, Dollar Tree loves to sell ornaments like this with the holes already in them. I kind of wish they wouldn't though. And I just hot glue that right over it. Super cute, super easy. All Dollar Tree on that one. And so I'm going to put this one here. We're kind of lean against the pole to help it stand up a little better, but a much needed dose of blue down there on the bottom. And then here is our little reindeer. We can put him over here. We have our little polar bear that we did. So cute. And another one of the little snowy Christmas trees would be cute down here on the bottom. And I think we have room for another one right back here as well. I also got these at Target. These are little felted Christmas trees. They were regularly $3, and I got these on sale too. And they're like felted, but I liked this blue one. I thought that would look really cute with my winter theme. So we're going to use that one for this tier tray as well. Isn't it so wintry with all that snow and all those little snowy creatures? I love it. Now, I also got some of these pine cones at the Target dollar spot. They are like the frosted pine cones. I thought that had some really great greenery in here, and I really like these. The little pine with the white flocking on it. They also have like white berries in there. I thought those would be really cute. So I'm just going to kind of scatter some of the white berries around. These are very similar to the ones that come all together at Dollar Tree on a winter floral. And then some of the flocked greenery I'm going to kind of work in here as well. And there is the bottom of the tier tray. And I just love how this one turned out.
This was a really fun theme for winter. I love the Arctic animals. And again, you can find lots of little Arctic creatures like this with Christmas ornaments that are probably on clearance right now if you look around at your stores. And just a fun theme with all these little Arctic owls and different animals together. I wanted to give you a little close-up view of how this tier tray turned out. It was really fun, pretty simple to put together using Christmas ornaments. They can be really a great thing for a tier tray because of their smaller size already. But I think it turned out really cute and it looks really fun with all of the other winter DIYs that we've done. And I'm going to show you how they all look together as well. I had this in my entryway, and so I have it here with some of my other winter DIYs and just easy tree finds. And it looks really fun combined with that giant snowflake wreath that we made in today's video. Isn't that fun? I love all of the white snowy effects. I think they look really fun. And one last look at this Arctic Animal winter tier tray. And I also have another winter tier tray coming up later in today's video. So stay tuned for that one. Okay, check out this candle that I got at the Dollar Tree. It is a snowflake like laying on its back. It's white, it's iridescent, it's absolutely beautiful. So I thought we could make a beautiful little candle, another winter candle for this using a couple items from the Dollar Tree. Check that out. Isn't that so beautiful? I saw that and I knew I had to have it. So I wanted to kind of go with the wood slice effect on this one again. And so this is another one of the wood slice signs from the Dollar Tree from Crafter Square. This is kind of the round one, but it's kind of like an odd shape, which I kind of like. So I'm just going to carefully remove the hanger from that one. And then I want it to be up on a little pedestal tray. So I'm actually going to take one of these little glass candle holders from the Dollar Tree and that frosted glass spray that I got from Rust-Oleum. And I'm going to go outside and frost this to kind of give it that frosted look that we've been using today. And it was pretty easy to do. I did one coat and brought it right back in and given it a quick dry. And I have a beautiful like frosted base for this. I thought the contrast between the frosted glass base and the wood slice holder and then that iridescent white snowflake is all going to go really well together. It's also going to go really well with all the other DIYs that we made today. So again, I don't really want this to be that light wood color. So just like before with the other wood slice, I'm just using some antique wax by Waverly and a baby wipe just to make that warmer wood vibe on this for the base of my little candlestick. Gonna leave it raw on the other side where I'm gonna be attaching it to that candlestick. And then I also kind of want to make it a little snowy too. I know I frosted it, but I also thought we can kind of make it look snowy. And I'm going to kind of rim the bottom on this one just by using school glue around the edges, kind of spreading that out kind of randomly. And then we can dip that in the Epsom salt. It's going to add another little snowy touch to this project. I told you I loved the Epsom salt for snow. You can tell I really loved it because I used it on a ton of projects today. And that gave me a little snowy base. So not only is it frosted, it's snowy as well, which is going to add to the winter vibes on this little candle holder. And I wasn't sure if hot glue was going to be strong enough for this one. So I'm going to pop out some E6000 for this one and put it along the glass candlestick before I put the wood on there. And hopefully it's going to make this project a little stronger. So I just kind of center the wood slice on there, carefully flip that over. I kind of needed some short-term hold too until it dried, so I just went around with hot glue there on the outside and glued them together, and it definitely stayed together better that way. So we can flip it back over and we can decorate it. I did have a staple I was able to remove there. Again, you have to be really careful with those because it will split the bark sometimes. For a little added stability, I glue my candle down so it doesn't move around right there in the center. And then I want it to be frosty and snowy up here as well. So I thought in between the different arms of the snowflake, I would put a little bit more school glue and a little bit more Epsom salt and just kind of have a little bit of snow like the snowflakes kind of sitting in a pile of snow. Now, the Epsom salt can be a little messy. I used one of those little cutting boards from the Dollar Tree on all these today and definitely helped make cleanup a little bit easier. Just kind of like working with sand. You're going to get it everywhere. And so I did that in between each little ray of the little snowflake. And it doesn't really have to be even. I kind of want it random, kind of cleaning up some of the excess Epsom salt with a dry paintbrush. And look how pretty that candle is. And I think I made a really pretty candle holder to go with it and display it. Isn't that so cute? Definitely goes with our neutral winter vibe that we've been doing today. And a little remnant of snow up there on the candle holder. And then, of course, some snow along the base of the frosted candle holder. It's kind of hard to show you that and get it all in one picture. But I think the candle is the star of the show. Isn't that so pretty? It's so pretty I don't even want to burn it. But you know what? I will, just for you guys. We'll go ahead and light this up and show you how beautiful it looks lit up. Isn't that so cozy? I love a good winter candle. Okay, next DIY, I wanted to make just a really fun winter sign. So I'm going to use 2 of these plain wood
hanging signs from the Dollar Tree to kind of make a bigger sign. Whenever you piece the Dollar Tree signs together, you can always make a more substantial piece. And I love the fact that these are like raw wood and I can do anything to them. Super easy to paint. The only thing I don't like about them is they're that Dollar Tree thin still. And you got to be really careful that they're not too bowed. I'm going to do the open holes, one on each end, to kind of make them look like boards. And I kind of want this to look like like a pallet sign. And so to do that, I'm just going to use some craft sticks, some popsicle sticks from the Dollar Tree, and leaving a little space in between. I'm going to sandwich these together with popsicle sticks, just attaching the popsicle sticks with hot glue to the back. And it was a little bowed, so I'm going to go ahead and use 5 to try to fix that problem and get it as straight as I can. And we have a really inexpensive little sign here that we can decorate. Now, I wanted to do this like a beachy blue too, but I'm going to kind of mix it up. This time we're going to do turquoise and white together, just kind of mixing my own custom color. I added a little bit more because I wanted it to be a little bit lighter, but I wanted to do a fun winter sign where I could do like a snowman sign, but I could do something really fun and wintry at the same time. So we're going all over with that custom blue color. Don't be afraid to mix your colors of paint. If you don't have the shade that you're looking for, you can probably get to it with what you have, just trying to remember like your color wheel and stuff like that. I am going to go ahead and try to paint those popsicle sticks that are kind of shining through as well, but just a nice sloppy coat all over. And I'm also going to go around the edges in case that you can see them. And this was kind of bowed. I did finally get it kind of straightened out after I worked with it enough and painting it and drying it, heating it. And I did finally get it to straighten out a little bit. So this is what we've got. I have this image that I got on Canva of a cute little snowman, and all I did was print that out on my printer. I'm not sure if I will be able to share it with you on Canva because I'm not sure. I will try. If I can't, I will share it as part of our Facebook group. And I always have the link for that below as well if you would like to print this out yourself. It's a really cute little snowman, and I love his little blue hat. I thought about doing the print and cut on my Cricut, but for some reason, like the sensor on my Cricut never can see the little lines around the edges that it needs to see to cut stuff out. And it's sometimes just easier to cut it out myself. So I just cut it out. The only thing that was tricky on that was cutting out the little arms because I wanted to make sure that I didn't cut it off. Then I'm also going to cut him in half because of the hole in the board. I don't want that like image to cover it. I want it to kind of be pieced together like that. And now we can just glue it down. I'm just using some matte Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree and gluing our snowman over here on one side. And they don't have a lot of winter stuff available at the Dollar Tree right now. So sometimes when you print your own stuff like this, you can do your own little custom take on winter DIYs. I'm going to be starting Valentine's Day soon, but in between Christmas and Valentine's Day, I definitely wanted to decorate my house for winter. So I just sealed over the top with one layer and dried that, but I'm also going to Mod Podge the entire sign just because I don't want it to be like a different finish over where the snowman is. I want it to be all the same finish all over. So I'm just sealing all of the paint and the image with another coat of Mod Podge. And that makes it look less like you just put glue like on one side of the sign. It just evens it all out. Now I'm going to try my best trying to find a white paint pen that works. I am really hard on white paint pens. I must use them way too much. I'm using a Sharpie one, and this is a water-based, and so it wasn't great. I need to get more of the oil-based ones. I get these at Target, and I like them, but this water-based one just did not, as you can see, it's working, but it kind of like when you dry it, it kind of fades. And so I do have to go over it with a couple of coats and really try to thicken those lines so that you can read that. If you're not confident in your handwriting, you could always use stickers from the Dollar Tree or your Cricut to make a stencil, or you could use Cricut vinyl for the letters. But mine is going to say not made for winter because that is me. Definitely not made for winter. And I'm just doing winter in like a kind of a cursive font not made for. I tried to do like a Ray Dunn font. It's pretty easy to do a Ray Dunn font. Sometimes it's easier to do that than to make a stencil in your Cricut. Now to decorate it some more, I'm going to use some of these glitter snowflake stickers from the Dollar Tree. I love these. I'm going to do one for like the little dot of winter. And then I'm just going to do like different sizes all over just to kind of make look like it is snowing on our little snowman sign. And this was just a fun sign. I wanted something fun for winter. And I saw the saying somewhere and I was like, oh yeah, that is totally me. I can't stand the cold, and it's actually cold in Florida right now. When I went out to work earlier, it was in the 40s and I was freezing, but I'm sure a lot of you are a lot more cold than we were here with our 30s here in Florida. But we don't like it. So now I'm using white and a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just distressing all over. I just wanted to give it that beachy vibe, and I like to distress that printable image a little bit to make it look a little bit, more hand painted. If I get too much on there, I just go over it with a baby wipe and kind of take off the distress. Trying not to take off the words, though, in the process. And I just kind of distress it, working in one direction until I am happy with it. And we have a nice beachy little winter sign. Now for a hanger on the back, it's a pretty lightweight sign, so I think twine's going to be fine. So I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree twine and hot glue, and we're just going to make a really easy rope hanger on the back that won't be visible for the front. And I think it's going to be plenty strong to hold up this sign because it's just the two thin boards. And there it is, our not made for winter sign. I think it's so cute. What do you think about this one? And here's how it turned out in my house. I think it's a nice beachy sign and a fun whimsical sign for winter.
It's definitely appropriate for me because I am not made for winter, which is why my family is in Florida. I think that snowman's really cute though. And it makes a nice large sign for winter when you need a little bit more decor.
Okay, our next DIY, I'm going to use one of these little plastic snowflake ornaments from the Dollar Tree and one of these great new signs I found at the Crafter Square in Dollar Tree. Isn't it cute? It's like a wood plank circle. It's got a frame and a wood bead hanger. It's so cute. I love it. It's such an easy DIY. And look how perfectly the snowflake fits on there. If you don't have any of these plastic ones left over, you can't find them, you could always use the wood snowflakes as well, but this one was the perfect size. Gonna kind of do a turquoise and white on this one. And I really thought this ornament looked like coral. So I thought if we painted it, we could make it really look like coral. And it kind of looks more like coral than the coral ornaments that I made. It really does. This takes away all the plastic shine, and I'm using a brush so I can make sure to get down in all the different individual parts of the snowflake, and it takes away all the glitter shine as well. That acrylic paint really covered it up, and I just mixed turquoise and white together for that color. I think this turned out so pretty, and this is going to be such an easy winter decor piece. I'm going to go ahead and fill the hole where the hanger was with hot glue and kind of touch that up with paint, because I didn't really think about that. I don't really want it to have a hole in it. I think that would be kind of obvious. And so now that it's all painted and filled in, we can attach it to our sign. I love these signs. I picked up a couple of these at one of my bigger Dollar Trees that I was at the other day. I was really tickled to find them. And I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach our little snowflake. You could always put like a wood block behind it, kind of make it look more 3D if you wanted. But I'm going to kind of just glue it flat to the piece like that. And it's looking super cute as is. I did want to add like just a little something to it though. So I am going to add a bow, and I'm going to make that out of some of this ribbon that I get at Dollar Tree. I would love working with this. I always think it looks like a little bit like fishing net. So I think it always goes great with my coastal projects. And even though this isn't a coastal project, it's just a snowflake, I think it really looks coastal. Now they have like an odd number of beads at the top. So I'm going to kind of tie it off to the side here, just using a piece of twine and tying it on the string they already have on there. And it's just going to provide a super easy little bow. Now I was trying to arrange it on there a little bit. I thought it was a little bit too long. So you can always shorten it. You can't make it longer, right? So I do go in and trim this up just a little bit shorter. And then I wanted to finish it off with one more thing, and I decided one of these little seashells, these come in the little bottles from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to glue a seashell there. And that's going to kind of substitute for a bead to make it have an even number of beads so that I can hang that kind of evenly on a nail. I like to have an even number of wood beads on there. I think it makes it hang easier. And it's kind of attached to the back, so you kind of have to take it apart to take a bead off of it. But this is how it turned out, our little coral coastal snowflake sign. I think it's so pretty, and this is how it turned out. You can see that like beautiful texture on that cheap ornament. It looks really high end.
And I really love the color scheme on this one. That blue color on the snowflake, I think it just really makes it special. It looks so much better than it does with like the clear plastic, the way that it comes.
Okay, this project, I wanted to do a big sign to go in my entryway. Now, I only could find one of the little snowflake long signs from the Dollar Tree, but that's okay. I still had two of the pumpkin ones left over from fall, but you know what? We are going to make this work. I wanted to do a big, like, let it snow sign by putting all three signs together, and that's going to allow me to make a really big project, but using supplies from the Dollar Tree. So I kind of lined it up with the openings of the pumpkins down, the snowflake up. And then I'm just going to use some of these Dollar Tree rulers for braces on the back of the sign and to put it all together. Then I was like, wait a minute, no, I don't want it like that. I'm going to cover up the pumpkin cutouts, of course, and I'm going to leave the snowflake cutout. And so I'm trying to get it exactly the way I want it, and then I'm just going to put them all together with the ruler and some hot glue. Easy peasy, it's going to give us a great big sign. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here on the other side using the flat side of that ruler. And while I'm back here, I'm going to go ahead and make a hanger out of some twine. And using the width of that wood and my stapler, I can just staple that on. Usually the staples go right through those Dollar Tree signs, but that made it thick enough. So this is how it looks right now. I have the snowflake sign over on the right there, you see. And we are just going to paint this a nice beachy blue. So I want it all to be the same color though. And I thought that if I painted that all the black would be way darker than the blue one, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go over it all with a coat of white first to give myself a blank canvas. I wanted to make a let it snow sign using one of these little wood let it snow signs from the Dollar Tree, just filling in the hole on that with some spackle. And you know, I don't want it to snow. I never want it to snow. So I'm going to add to it. You'll see. And I just want to paint this white because I'm going to do the big sign in like a light beachy blue. I love the white on blue for beachy signs, and just using a makeup sponge and some white going all over and sponging that on makes it look nice and snowy. Easy peasy, and then we can go ahead and paint this sign. I am doing Caribbean blue, just acrylic paint, and I'm just gonna go all over this big sign. The sign is so big, I can't get it all in my camera shot here on my workbench, but I'm just gonna go ahead and work on half at a time here. And since I went in with that white coat first, the acrylic is covering pretty well. Now my plan is to cover up the pumpkin parts with some seashells and then leave the little snowflake part out. If you can find enough of the snowflakes ones, you wouldn't have to cover up the little pumpkins, of course. Now I kind of wanted to do a slight ombre effect, so I added some ivory to the Caribbean blue for this side, so we can kind of have that medium color of Caribbean blue fade into this really light color. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm doing both colors kind of today for these DIYs, and I want that to kind of coordinate together. So the largest piece is going to kind of have both. Then I mix both the colors together here in the middle and do a slight ombre effect, so it'll change in color from the top to the bottom of the sign. Just blending that with a makeup sponge. Now we're going to go to Cricut Design Space, and we're going to add to that Let It Snow, because you know I can't have it let it snow, right? So this is how I do it. If you're not real familiar with Cricut Design Space, I always like to put like a rectangle or a square first. That is exactly the size that I need it to be, which I measured on the sign. And that way my word will fit perfectly. And we are just going to make a stencil. I love using my Cricut to make stencils. It's probably the number one thing I use my Cricut for. If you don't have a Cricut, you could always do this with like the little letter stickers from the Dollar Tree. But this way I can do a nice custom somewhere else, because you know I don't want to let it snow, right? Then I delete the rectangle, and then I can go ahead and cut this out. This is going to be longer than your regular like 12 by 12 mat, but that's okay. I'm going to use my longer mat and some of the stencil vinyl that I get on Amazon. It's always linked below in my shop. My stencil vinyl and my paper transfer paper, you'll see me here use it in a minute. I love it. It's like the best that I've found. And I'm just going to simply weed that out. And this is the paper transfer paper. It comes in like a 6-inch roll and a 12-inch roll. I have both and I use both. I might use the 6-inch more, which is this one. And we're just going to attach that to our stencil. And I love my Cricut. I actually got my Cricut like 2 years ago, I guess now. For my husband and son for Christmas. It is a wonderful Christmas present. If you want any gift ideas for yourself that you can hint to your family, a Cricut is definitely a great gift. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here on the bottom part of my sign and secure that down. And I'm just using a makeup sponge and some white paint, and we're going to make it say somewhere else down here. And I really kind of like the spongy effect. It kind of makes it look a little bit more like snow. And I'm not too worried about bleeding because I always like that coastal beachy feel, especially on my hand-painted signs. But I go over it with 2 coats to make sure that's nice and white against the blue. And we can peel off the stencil. Super fun. If you didn't want to do a hand-painted sign, you could always cut it out of just Cricut vinyl and put the Cricut vinyl on there as well. Saves you a step. And then I'm just going to go through and weed out the rest of the vinyl. Sometimes I use Mod Podge first before I do the paint. That way if anything bleeds, it's the Mod Podge, but sometimes I have problems with that. Sometimes it kind of comes out kind of squirrely, but this worked pretty good. I'm also going to distress with some of that white and a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree and make it look nice and beachy. And then I'm just going to use a big seashell that I actually found at the beach to cover up this pumpkin down here. Just attaching it with hot glue, and there's no pumpkin there anymore, right? And then we can attach the Let It Snow sign from the Dollar Tree above the somewhere else, just by adding hot glue to some of the letters. And this sign is so fun. I had to save it for again this year. I'm actually getting ready to hang it right now. I finally got my tree decorated. My tree stand was broken. I had to order a new one off Amazon. I had to wait for it to get here. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I got my tree up so late. I'm going to want to leave it up all January. It looks so beautiful. And then I'm covering the top pumpkin with the sand dollar you saw there. And then I thought maybe another seashell down here at the bottom would be cute too. Just gluing that on. Now I wanted to frame it because, you know, it's a thin Dollar Tree sign. I didn't want it to look thin. I wanted it to look framed out. So I'm going to use some of this white rope from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to glue that all around the edges to give us a nice rope frame This serves two purposes. You know, it gives you a frame, plus it totally adds to like the coastal beachy feel of the sign. And I'm not going to cut it at the corner. I'm just going to bend it and keep going all the way down the side of my sign. I'm sorry this project's so big. I couldn't really zoom out for this. And it goes around 3 sides there. I did cut it so it would be exactly the right length there because there was definitely not enough to go around the 4th side. So I will have to start another package of that white rope to finish off this last side. And that sand dollar is actually a real sand dollar. I get those on Amazon as well. Those are the larger ones that are available in my shop. But I'm thinking the ones from the Dollar Tree might be big enough. Last year when I made this project, I don't think I had any of those left. Now, these are some of the little snowflakes, the wood snowflakes from the Dollar Tree. And I thought it needed a few more snowflakes, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint 2 of those white to add to our side. And again, the makeup sponge is key. I just finally found some more of those at the Dollar Tree. I was so excited because I was running low. And we're just going to attach those. So we're going to have seashells and snow on this sign. I think it'll be really cute. Kind of one on each side of our sand dollar. And this is how it turned out. It's really big. Let it snow somewhere else. I think it looks so beachy and I love it. I love this saying.
And honestly, if I still lived somewhere that it snowed a lot, I would still hang this on my wall because I think snow looks pretty like the first time it falls, but then having to deal with it is just such a headache. Now for the next project, I got this great wood slat sign for half price at Goodwill.
It looks like somebody's craft project never got completed. And we are just going to paint this the Caribbean blue. So you could use a Dollar Tree sign for this. You could use a thrift flip sign, something you've already got, whatever. I liked this one because it was slatted. That always kind of gives me a beachy vibe. I like that. A little palette sign. And we're just going to go over the whole thing with Caribbean blue acrylic paint. And then I want to do just another blue with white because I really like that for winter and for beach or coastal DIYs. And so I want to do a white snowflake on top of this. This DIY is going to be super easy. Now, once I get it painted blue, I do want it to look distressed. So I go over it with ivory and a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree, and then wipe off any excess with just a baby wipe to give me that nice coastal feel. And then I'm going to use one of these snowflakes from the Dollar Tree. This is the MDF one. Just fill in the hole from the hanger with some spackle, and we can paint this. Now, I want to kind of take advantage of the fact that it's already brown. So I'm going to do ivory, but as you can see, I'm going to distress it where it's going to be mostly ivory, but I definitely want some of that brown to show through. That way I don't have to go back and distress it for the coastal rustic feel. So I kind of just keep adding to it until I get the right color of white that I want. And I think this is going to look really pretty on the blue sign that we painted. And it's the perfect size. Now this is the other wood snowflake, you know, from the Dollar Tree. This has got all the cutouts, so it's very intricate. And we're just going to attach that to the sign with some hot glue on the back. Now, I did want to give it a little bit more of a beachy vibe. We've got our beachy colors and our coastal distressing, but I thought the perfect final touch would be one of these little starfish from the Dollar Tree, just glued right to the middle of our snowflake. A little unexpected touch, but super cute, and it goes well with it. And this is how it turned out, our little coastal snowflake sign.
It was really easy to do, especially if you can find one of these like little snowflake wood signs from the Dollar Tree. They're super easy to pair them with just about anything like this, and you can have a fun little winter sign. I always love the small touches, like little starfish there in the middle. I think that's really fun. Don't forget to like today's video if you're enjoying today's DIYs. I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and hype today's video.
This one I thought, let it snow. We can remake this. I'm going to use some of these new galvanized metal snowman stakes. I just found those at the Dollar Tree the other day. They got them in kind of late, I think. And I think we can make this a Julie approved project. No, let it snow. This isn't going to work. So I'm just going to use different shades of blue and I am just painting over that. No rhyme, no reason. I probably should have texturized it a little bit with something to cover up the glitter from the scarf and the hat because I was having trouble covering that. I just kept doing different layers of blue just to kind of make it look like the ocean and the sky. Really, no rhyme or reason. I was just trying to cover all of that up that was on there before, kind of do a little bit of a horizon line if we can. Um, and again, you can still kind of see the texture of the glitter, but once we decorate it, I think it's going to be okay. Now for the bottom part, we don't want snow, no way. So we're going to do sand. So I'm going to do a nice thick layer of school glue, kind of in a wavy pattern here at the bottom. And then some of this white sand from the Dollar Tree. It's nice and got a little bit of sparkle in there too. And we're going to replace the snow with sand. This is going to be a coastal beach approved snow globe. But I did like the shape. That's why I started with the sign. Now to get the sand to stick, I'm going to use some of the spray adhesive from the Dollar Tree and glue that down. And then some of the sand that fell off, I'm going to do a second layer of sand so that you can't see through it. And again, a little bit more of that spray glue to make sure that everything stays put. That really works really well for sand projects for me. Aren't these cute? They had lots of different ones too. And I got some new like galvanized metal Christmas trees and different stuff like that. They just got them in at one of my big Dollar Trees. I've never seen them before. Now the stake on the back was really on there. It wasn't like easy to pop off like with your hand like some of them that I've seen. So I'm just going to use some pliers and kind of work that back and forth until I have two little galvanized metal snowmen. I thought these would be really cute to decorate, and replacing that big one that was in there with maybe two smaller ones. That's going to go, I think the galvanized metal goes well with a coastal vibe. And it's going to kind of coordinate with that last DIY that we just did where we did the galvanized metal sign. And I'm just going to attach both of those to our snow globe sign with lots of hot glue. Anytime you glue to the sand, you have to use a little bit more hot glue, but I'm only gluing the bottom parts of those to the sand. Then I thought we should have some sea creatures out there, so I'm going to use some of these little shore living dolphins from the Dollar Tree that they had this summer. And I'm going to take two of the little dolphins jumping and just painting those white, again with a makeup sponge. You could always use the little dolphins from the Crafter Square, the little craft board ones that we've been using as well if you don't have any of these. But I thought a few dolphins jumping out of the water from behind the snowman would be really cute. So I'm just going to attach both of those with a little dot of hot glue. Now to border out the frame, I thought some of this white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree would be really cute, just for the border around the snow globe. So I'm just going to use it as is, and we're going to start gluing that on there. I'm going to go ahead and put some twine back on there for a hanger while I can, because this is probably going to glue that over there. I kind of tied it too long, so I'm going to tie it a little bit shorter. But this would be a really cute standing project as well if you don't want to hang it. And I'm going to start right here at the bottom, and I'm going to start hot gluing that rope frame all around our snow globe. I think this really ties it in, and it makes the project look a lot more thick than the thin Dollar Tree sign. I always hate how thin the signs are. I always want my DIYs to be a little bit more substantial. I'm going to cut it off when I get to the bottom here and glue that down. Now, the only problem is it says let it snow, so we're going to replace that with some of this craft wood from the Dollar Tree. It's about 18 inches long, so we're going to cut it in half. We're going to have 2 9-each pieces of this rather thick craft wood from the Dollar Tree. And it's going to be a nice thickness. It's going to be the same thickness as the rope. It's going to make this look really nice. So we're going to kind of pair those up side by side there at the bottom. The only problem is they're a little bit too skinny. So I'm going to cut off the little sides where it kind of flares out on that let it snow sign. I tried with scissors, but it was a little too thick, so I'm just using a cutting blade from the hardware section at the Dollar Tree and a Dollar Tree cutting mat. And we're just going to cut that down. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're not going to be able to see it. And now we can attach these little wood pieces to the bottom to create a new sign for our little coastal beachy snow globe. Just going to glue that down to the Let It Snow with hot glue. I use the Gorilla Glue hot glue. I know some of you guys were asking. I get it at Amazon or Walmart. It's in my Amazon shop. I really love it. It works great for wood projects. Now I want it to look kind of coastal and distressed. And so I'm going to use some ivory acrylic and a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree. And just working in one direction, we are going to distress this wood, make it look nice and coastal. I want some of the raw wood to show through, but I also want a nice ivory background for our sign. Kind of distressing on the sides and the bottom as well. Now I want to spell out a new word. I don't want no snow, so I'm going to use some of these galvanized metal letters from the Dollar Tree. You have to be careful when you buy these. You only get half the alphabet, as you can see. Like this one is N through Z, and you get one of each letter. I thought we could put like a fun saying. I'm going to do a snow-free zone. I thought that would be funny. Just trying to find enough E's, and luckily I had enough. Now, these are kind of small, these letters, and so my regular hot glue gun gives a little bit too much hot glue, so I heated up my fine detail hot glue gun, and I am just going to glue those all on. Trying to not get any hot glue anywhere it shouldn't be, but it's inevitable. And we're going to do snow free up here on the top board and then zone here on the bottom. I think that ties in really nicely with the galvanized metal snowman, and it completes this little snow free zone snow globe. I think it's a fun take on a snow globe sign. And again, this would be a really pretty sign standing up. I haven't decided which way I'm going to use it. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't put any sand shells or seashells on there. So I'm going to use one of these little tiny starfish that I get on Amazon. They're always listed in my Amazon shop below. I'm going to glue that on with some hot glue. And again, when you're gluing to the sand, you got to use a lot of hot glue because you kind of have to get down all the way to the sign. If you glue it just to the sand itself, it's going to fall right off. So you kind of have to put lots of hot glue on there and then push it really hard down into the sand. I'm just going to do 3. I think that's plenty. And there is our final project. And this is how it turned out. Our little snow-free zone snow globe. I think it's really fun. What do you think?
I think those snowmen look really happy to be in the sand for sure. Just another fun, whimsical idea. Kind of making fun of snow because we don't like it here. Up next, we're going to do a melting snowman winter tier tray. I thought this was a fun theme, especially since I live in Florida. Enjoy. For the top of the tier tray, we're going to use one of the little Dollar Tree snowman signs. I don't need it to be a hanging sign, so I'm going to just use a little spackle to cover that hole there in the top of it. And we're going to give him a fun little, we're going to paint him and give him some arms, a little sign and stuff like that. And I'm going to display this little guy under like a little sunshine sign that I had left over from summertime. And it looks so fun together because the snowman is so scared of the Florida heat. So I want like this, the head and the body of the snowman to be white. And so I just go over that with white acrylic. I'm also going to go over like, you know, the other areas too. It's kind of easier just to paint everything white than try to pick one certain area. And that's going to give you a good base for other colors as well. I wanted to make sure though that the body and the head were really white, so I gave them a second coat.
And then I'm using Caribbean Blue from Target, and I'm going to use that for the scarf on this little guy. This is going to be a coastal winter, so I wanted to have some blue touches on this one as well. And then I'm going to mix a little white with that to give me that icy blue color. And we're going to use that for his stocking hat. And I decided I liked that better, so I also went over the scarf with that color. For the little nose, we're going to do a pumpkin acrylic mixed with white to kind of give me a pastel orangey color. Nothing too bright. And I just paint the little nose that was already on the little Dollar Tree sign just like that. And then I want to give it a little coastal farmhouse touch, so I do a little distressing with white. For the little ball of the hat, I'm going to use one of the little Dollar Tree snowballs, and we're going to use some of those to decorate the tier tray as well. I also glue some twine onto the back because I'm going to tie that to the top pole of the tier tray to kind of keep him in place. He's going to be the main decoration for the top of this tier tray because he's pretty big. And then I cut down some wired jute. We're going to make little snowman arms for him that stick out of the side, and use some smaller pieces to even make some little hands. You got to be careful with that wired jute. It definitely wants to come off. If you find that happening, you can kind of hot glue it on. That does tend to help a little bit, but sometimes that can definitely be a little hard to work with. But I thought it'd be perfect for this. You could always use sticks, I guess, too. I just hot glued the wire jute to the back of the little snowman on both sides, and then we're going to have him hold a little sign. So I picked up some of these little chalkboard signs from the Dollar Tree. They already have a hand on them, or a handle on them, so I thought that'd be perfect. And so I'm just going to paint them blue with that icy blue color that we mixed together to kind of make it coordinate and go with our little snowman. Then I'm going to go in there. I just used a chalk marker first, and we're gonna like just put help on there with a paint pen. And I thought it was a little hard to read, so I went over it with my Sharpie paint pen. And we're gonna have him hold that sign because I'm gonna display him directly under a little sign that I had from summer that has snow on there. I also used a little bit more twine glued on there to make it a little bit sturdier so he can keep a hold of that sign. He's not going to be dropping that or anything. And I think that's really fun. No eyes or mouth or anything like that. I wanted to keep it kind of abstract. And there's the little Hello Sunshine sign that I had left over from the Target dollar spot. And it would be really fun, I thought, to put the little snowman under him yelling for help. And as you can see, he pretty much fills in the entire top tier. I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree light blue snow and put that all around like he is kind of melting. I thought like the blue color might give you that impression, like liquid water underneath of him. And so I just kind of fill in the bottom tier with that. Really nothing else we're going to do on the top. Everything else is going to be down on the second tier. And this is just Dollar Tree sand. Since it's a coastal theme, I thought Dollar Tree sand would be perfect. You can also do white sand too if you kind of wanted yours to look like snow, but I actually kind of wanted mine to look like the beach, so I chose the tan sand, and I'm just scattering that all over. I love using stuff like this on my tier tray. It is a little messy when you go to switch out your tier trays, but it's so much fun to do themes like this. And so I got that pretty full. It's a pretty large tray down there on the bottom of this one. And then we can start making some DIYs. This is just a little white house that I had left over from like a tier tray starter kit, I think, from Target that I never used. And it's just a tiny white house. Doesn't really matter what it is. I thought it would be cute to do like a little snowman house though. So I'm actually just going to paint the back of it all in white. And you could do this with a square sign. You could do this with a house-shaped sign like this. Doesn't really matter. All we need it to be is white. And then I'm just going to kind of draw a snowman face on there with a black Sharpie. We can do like little dots for the eyes and mouth. And then I switched to an orange Sharpie to draw on like a little carrot nose. And then I had an orange paint pen that I kind of went back in and kind of colored that in to give it like a little bit of variety there with the colors. Then I decided I thought the eyes should definitely be bigger. So I went back in there with my Sharpie and kind of made those larger. and gave little dots in the eyes as well, just to make it look super cute. Then I'm just going to take some Dollar Tree twine and we're just going to wrap that around the top of the house just for a little bit of fun to kind of break up the house and kind of make it look like it's wrapped. I'm trying to get it on there without it like going on the roof of the house. So I wrapped it around a couple of times and then tied that off. Then I can kind of strand that together, kind of, just that wrapped look is what I was going for, and tie that on the back. I did use a little hot glue to kind of keep it in place, but super easy. Just a little snowman house to kind of go with our snowman theme on this one. And then for a little coastal touch, I have a little tiny starfish that I got on Amazon that I added to the roof of the house just for fun. Super easy. We're going to put him right here in the back. He's kind of hard to see right now, but I will kind of move him off to the side a little bit so you'll be able to see him a little bit better. And then I found this great blue and white vase at the Dollar Tree, and I thought this matched the theme perfectly. The colors are perfect. And then I'm going to use a little baby breath from the Dollar Tree. This isn't necessarily a winter greenery, but I thought that the white baby's breath looked wintry with the white flower, so I thought that would work. And I always like to add a little plant or greenery on my tier trays. I always think it gives them lots of character. So I just cut some of that down, put that in the little Dollar Tree vase, and we're going to put this over here on the side where I have a little bit more room for a taller item like that. And then we'll kind of scooch over a little snowman house a little bit so you can kind of see him peeking from the side. Now the next DIY is just a little wood crate that I found at Dollar Tree, and I thought we could make a little crate full of snowballs for our snowman theme. And so I'm just going to give it that light icy blue color all over. It goes great for coastal since we're doing like a little coastal snowman theme, but it also works great for winter because it looks blue and icy for winter. So I just paint the outside of the crate. And then I'm going to use one of those little signs that we used earlier, the little chalkboard signs. And we can make a little sign for this to kind of make it look like we have stuff for sale in our little wood box. And so I just paint it white and then go over it with that icy blue to give us a little blue sign that we can kind of stick down in there and make a label for the snowballs. So I'm just going to use my paint pen and go in and write snowballs. 25 cents. Just something easy, just something really cutesy and fun. And then I'm going to go ahead and replace the hanger here. Had to take that off so that I could paint this little guy blue. So I just stringed that in and knotted on the inside, and we have a new hanger for our little box. These are the little Dollar Tree snowballs. So I just pile those in there. I put our little snowball sign in there, and we're going to kind of sit this in the sand over here where we have snowballs on the beach. We have our little beach house snowman. We have our greenery over there. And then this is just a Dollar Tree snowman sign. It's very Christmassy, but we're going to give it a little DIY, kind of make it custom for our little coastal snowman theme. And I thought it'd be easiest to do the back of the sign. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint the back of it with some white acrylic after I get the tag there off the back. And it is going to take a couple coats of white to make that super bright like I want. Then I use that icy blue color to paint Frosty's little hat on there to give him a little coastal touch with the blue. And we're just going to kind of repaint the snowman on there, incorporating like the little signs that he's holding as well. So I went in there with a brown paint pen, and we were going to go ahead and put like little eyes and mouth on there. And then my orange paint pen for a little carrot nose as well. Just brown instead of black, just so I didn't have too much contrast there, but it doesn't really matter. I do use black to kind of outline his little mittens, and I can always flip it over to the other side to kind of see what he was doing on there on the back of it to help me kind of recreate it. And then I'm going to use that same light blue icy color that we mixed together, just switching to a tiny brush, and we can make him have little blue mittens that are going to match his little blue Frosty hat. And then the Sharpie provides like a nice outline around those. Then I'm going to go in with that Sharpie and kind of outline his little Frosty hat, to kind of make that look a little bit better and a little bit more detailed. And then I can go back over the mittens and kind of touch those up a little bit, kind of make that look like it's gonna pop. And then I just kind of need a straight line here to kind of recreate the signs that he was holding. And I just kind of sketch those out so you can kind of see like one sign from the other sign. And then since I've outlined everything else, I also outline like the little snowman's head like that. Kind of really makes the image kind of pop a little bit. And then I'm going to go in here and write a fun saying on here. I'm going to just use a black Sharpie, kind of easiest thing to use on a little sign like this. And I just put, some people are worth melting for. I thought that was really fun to go with the melting snowman theme. And I did melting in cursive just for a little bit of variety. And then for a little distressing, I go over it with a little ivory just to kind of break things up a little bit with a little bit of distressing. And I left a little extra room there on the bottom of the sign to make it snowy. And I just put a little bit of Mod Podge right down there at the bottom. And then this is that blue Dollar Tree snow again. And I just glued that on there. You could also do that with Epsom salt or the white snow as well. But I kind of wanted the blue to kind of go with my blue theme on the hat and the mittens on this. And a super fun side. Now it's kind of two-sided. And then for a little beachy touch, I'm going to give him a little starfish on his hat as well. And we're going to put him right here in the front so you can really see him. Super cute little custom sign using a Dollar Tree sign. Now for the next sign, I just wanted like a little square rectangular sign. This was just a clearance sign that I got at Target Dollar Spot. They have a great source of little tiny signs like that. And I just painted over what was on there before with some white to kind of give me a plain canvas. And then I mixed that Caribbean blue and a white together to give me that icy blue color. And then I'm just going to use my white Sharpie paint pen and do like a Ray Dunn font. And we're just going to put the word Frosty on there. I thought that would be a perfect little sign for a snowman theme. Super easy. We're going to kind of pop that one right here in front since this is a shorter sign so you can still see stuff behind it. Now for the next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to take one of their little tinsel snowman from the Christmas aisle, and we are going to go ahead and take all that tinsel off. I kind of just wanted the cage of a snowman where we could kind of recreate. Now he does have like a little carrot nose, so I was trying to save that from the tinselly mess so that I can use that in my DIY, but I wanted to definitely get rid of all the tinsel if I could. And this little snowman's like wearing like a little kind of beanie hat. We're going to kind of recreate that. Now I'm going to use Dollar Tree nautical rope to wrap my snowman. You can always use the macrame cord that they have now and get kind of a similar effect. I'm just going to kind of get it by unstringing the rope into thirds. I glued the little carrot nose back on, and then I'm going to start here at the bottom. And I just attached the rope with a little dot of hot glue, and then we're just going to wrap that around. It's already got like the prongs on the side to hold the tinsel on there, so it does a really good job of holding the rope. And I thought nautical rope snowman would be like a nice coastal touch to a snowman DIY. And so we're just going to keep wrapping that around. If you get to any areas where it starts slipping or it's not quite as tight as you would like, you can always glue it down to that cage a little bit to make it tighter. I'm just trying to keep my rows as tight as possible so you can't really see any of the plastic cage. And that's how far one of the thirds took me. It covered most of the snowman. And I'm just going to make the seam there on the back. And we're going to start another one of the thirds. And we're going to wrap the little snowman's face with that. And then I'm going to continue that up and even do the hat with it as well. Because it's really easy to paint the rope. And so I'm just going to paint the top part of it to make it look like a hat. But otherwise, it's just basically all covered in Dollar Tree rope. So I just kind of glue it there at the end. It's a little tricky shape up there, but not too hard, just to wrap it. And then I'm going to mix that Caribbean blue and white together to give me that same light icy blue that I've been using on the DIYs for this tier tray. And I'm just going to simply paint the rope that blue color to make it look like the little snowman's wearing a beachy blue colored beanie. And just trying to keep that as straight as I can, painting that all over. And I usually paint Dollar Tree rope like this rather than buying colored rope. It's definitely the cheapest option. And then I'm going to decorate this little guy. This is some of the little deco mesh from Dollar Tree. And it is the blue like crystals. I went ahead and just cut out like 5 of them for a little blue sparkly little smile. And then one for each one of the eyeballs. I thought that would be something that would be tiny enough to make a little snowman face. And then I'm going to cut a few more of them. We can use those for buttons on the front of the little snowman. And they were a little shinier than I liked. I liked the fact that they were blue. So I just went over mine with some matte Mod Podge to kind of take down the jewel tone on those a little bit. I liked the size and the color, but I didn't really like the jewelness. So I also touched them up with a little bit of that light blue paint just to kind of make them kind of match everything a little bit better. And then another little starfish that I get on Amazon to decorate this little snowman's hat as well, to kind of continue that little beach theme. And that carrot was the same carrot that was on there before. I just wrapped that with a rope around it. Then for little snowman arms, I'm going to use some of these little glittery tree ornaments that I love from the Dollar Tree. They really look like coral. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut off a couple of the lower branches. I thought that would make perfect little coral snowman arms for him. And just the perfect size. So I'm going to put a little hot glue in here between the ropes and just attach my little snowman arms. And he looks super beachy and fun. We're going to put him right here in the front of our tier tray. And I love how these all came together. Really fun little theme. One more thing, I thought I would just add some of the little Dollar Tree white Christmas trees to kind of finish off the winter vibe of the tier tray. And we can kind of just scatter those around in the sand. So definitely, if you're going to be doing a winter theme and you're running low on supplies, you'll want to be going to Dollar Tree soon because I'm sure they're going to be running out of this stuff soon. And then before we know it, everything's going to be replaced with Valentine's Day, which I do a lot of Valentine's Day DIYs on my channel. So stick around. I'll have lots of those DIYs coming for you right after Christmas, I'm sure. And then these are the little snowballs that I had left over. I had some little larger ones. So I'm going to kind of scatter those around for filler in the sand as well. I thought that'd be a fun touch. We got snowballs. We got sand. We got no rules here in Florida for winter. And let me give you a little look around. Here is our little Dollar Tree snowman with his little help sign because he is melting in the Florida sunshine, which I just included that fun little sign that I got at the Target dollar spot in the summer.
And this was a really fun winter tier tray. I love all of the icy blue colors and white combined. The little rope snowman was very whimsical and fun to make. I love his little arms. I think they're so fun. Just making a simple Frosty sign, something like that, so easy to do. You can do it with any kind of wood or sign you have. And there are a few items at the Dollar Tree, like the little snowman sign, that is the perfect size. But you can really make anything with winter as long as, you kind of have the icy winter colors. We even did a little house snowman sign there in the back. And of course, our little box of snowballs for sale over here. Really easy to do with just some little white pom-pom balls. Really easy to do, and I have a little sign in there that says snowballs 25 cents, which is super cute, and it helped to finish off this great winter theme tier tray. And now it's time for the final reveal. I hope you enjoyed today's DIYs. Please let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below. You can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube on all social media. And this is a QR code. If you'd like to scan it with your phone camera, you can buy me a coffee. Enjoy the final reveal.
When everything is white, glimmering silver white, and stillness fills the night, it's Christmas, a winter wonderland, a snowball in each hand. Christmas Day. There's joy in the air, family's near. We give thanks for this past year. Oh, nothing compares to the love that we share. Oh, what a bliss. A green red delight with glimmering silver wine. You dazzle us all from big to small. Warm laughter and white smiles, my presents stacked in piles. Take me away, Christmas Day. Joy in the air, family's near. We give thanks for this past year. Oh, nothing compares to the love that we share. Oh, what a bliss. A green red delight with glimmering silver wine. You dazzle us all from big to small. Warm laughter and white smiles, my presents stacked in piles. Take me away, Christmas Day. Take me away, Christmas Day.
The whole world is white, there's snow everywhere from the storm last night. Winter is here, blue jays are watching the children's play on this bright and wonderful Christmas Day. It's so cold outside, we're staying in here by the fireside. I think I can hear far in the distance how sleigh bells play on this bright and wonderful Christmas Day. It's a wondrously slow and golden Christmas Day. When the sun gets low, you're still by my side in the afterglow and warmth from the fire. I love every moment as hours go by, holding your head in the dying light. It's so wondrously slow and golden Christmas Day.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's winter crafting marathon. I also would like to give a huge thank you to my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Maren Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Red Mama, Powell Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Ginny, Debbie Austin, James Osborne, and Lizette Thomas. Thank you so much for your support. If you would like to be a member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video on your phone or your computer. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube. And if you would like more winter crafting inspiration, please check out one of these DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting.